Mom, Sis, and Grandma. Your family, so I expect a $30,000 wedding gift from each of you. Oh, but don't invite Grandma to the wedding. It's just a hassle to make accommodations for someone in a wheelchair. I couldn't believe what Sis was saying. It gave me a headache. Grandma, who Sis said shouldn't come to the wedding, is like a mother to us. Moreover, Grandma's need for a wheelchair is entirely Sis's fault. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even think of her as my sister anymore. My name is Jessica. Growing up, my sister Chloe and I had a rough time. Dad was a violent drunk. Mom always took the brunt of it, trying to protect Chloe and me. It was heart-wrenching to see Mom with bruises all over. Dad was like a storm. Every time he came home, he would go on a rampage, turning everything upside down. Chloe and I spent our childhood huddled in a corner, waiting for the storm to pass. As you might expect, our parents eventually divorced. Dad was furious when the divorce came up, but Mom somehow managed to go through with it. Custody went to Mom, so Chloe and I ended up living at Mom's childhood home. That's when Chloe, Mom, Grandma, and I started living together. Grandma is incredibly kind and showered us with love to heal our emotional wounds. Because Mom was working full-time, Grandma took care of most of the household chores. She cooked our favorite meals, taught us the names of the flowers in the garden, and instilled good manners in us. I can't thank Grandma enough. So I couldn't understand Chloe's gradual change of heart. Around the time she hit her rebellious phase, Chloe started to change. She often hung out with a bad crowd and stopped studying altogether. Even at home, she'd grumble, "Move it," when she passed us in the hallway or on the stairs. Chloe's bad attitude was a constant concern for me, Mom, and Grandma, but things came to a head when Chloe was in college. By then, Chloe regularly came home in the early morning hours. She often came home drunk, reminding me of the worst of Dad. On the day the incident happened, Chloe came home drunk from a club party. I was already disgusted by her wandering around the house so carelessly when the incident happened. "Hey, Grandma, you're in the way, move." As Grandma was slowly descending the stairs due to her bad back, Chloe knew this. Yet she pushed Grandma from behind just because she was in her way. Losing her balance from the sudden shove while holding onto the handrail, Grandma fell down the stairs. An ambulance had to be called. Mom and I really let Chloe have it. Pushing an elderly person is just unimaginable. Even with the arrival of the ambulance, Chloe sobered up a bit, but kept justifying herself, saying, "I barely touched her. Who would think she'd fall from just that?" Grandma ended up fracturing her leg and worsening her already bad back, resulting in a hospital stay. I visited Grandma daily, constantly encouraging her as she diligently worked through her rehab. Yet Chloe never once came to visit. Chloe committed a crime. How could she do this to Grandma, who has always taken care of us? I'd say in rage, to which Grandma would always reply, "It's okay. It's fine." Though Grandma smiled, it was clear from her downturned eyebrows that she was saddened by Chloe's actions. Grandma worked hard in rehab, but ultimately had to adjust to life in a wheelchair. None of us had ever thought this would happen, and our house was not equipped for it. We made some adjustments, like installing ramps, but Grandma was deeply saddened by her new limitations. While I was in college, I had the time to help Grandma, but that became difficult after I started working. We told Chloe, who was still a student, "You're the reason Grandma is in a wheelchair now, so please help her when you're home." But our words fell on deaf ears. While scrolling through her phone, Chloe would respond with a careless, yeah, and continued her partying and drinking, never assisting Grandma when she needed it. Our patience was wearing thin with Chloe, but the tipping point came when she announced she was getting married. "I'm pregnant, and I'm marrying a very wealthy man. Sorry, sis, for getting married before you, especially since I'm the beautiful one and I'm marrying up." Looking down her nose at me, Chloe starts talking about her dream wedding, a far-off look in her eyes. Apparently, she's planning to have the ceremony sooner rather than later to avoid being visibly pregnant. With her wealthy husband providing ample funds, Chloe boasts that she can have the wedding of her wildest dreams. I'm wearing a princess-like dress for the wedding. I'm planning a lot of surprises, and I'm going to go all out with the food. So, Mom and Sis, you should feel grateful I'm even inviting you. While I find Chloe's behavior intolerable, she is my sister. I was genuinely happy for her marriage and pregnancy, but being told to be grateful for an invitation was off-putting. Furthermore, Chloe only mentioned Mom and me, completely omitting Grandma. Unaware of my growing suspicion, Chloe unknowingly answers my unspoken questions. Mom, Sis, and Grandma are family, so I'm expecting wedding gifts to be around $30,000. Oh, but don't invite Grandma to the ceremony. It's a hassle to accommodate someone in a wheelchair, you know. I couldn't believe the nerve of my sister Chloe. I knew she was out of line, but this was just too much. The amount she expected for a wedding gift was outrageous. And most shocking of all, the idea of not inviting Grandma to the wedding was unthinkable to me. Grandma stepped in to take care of us when Mom was swamped at work. She raised us with so much love. To treat Grandma like she's a burden? And to think Chloe was the one who pushed Grandma down the stairs, leading to her being wheelchair-bound. Grandma has been saying how she feels like a burden since then. Chloe's words must have cut her deep. For Grandma, who's often felt down since becoming wheelchair-bound, thinking she's a burden to everyone, Chloe's words would have been tough to hear. Though Grandma said, "Congratulations," to Chloe, her usually kind smile was tinged with sadness. I couldn't stand it anymore. A surge of anger bubbled up from within, an anger that had been simmering ever since Grandma was pushed down the stairs. That was the moment I decided I was done considering Chloe my sister. All right, make sure you get a proper wedding gift. You better wear something nice, or you'll make my fiancé's high-profile guests look bad, Chloe said. With that, she wheeled out a large suitcase from her room and left the house as if she owned the place, completely ignoring Mom's angry shouts. I'm so happy to finally get out of this old dirty house, she said, filled with spite, and left waving her hand. Mom and Grandma were stunned for a moment, but I was burning with a desire for revenge. I shared my plan with Mom and Grandma, and although they were shaken, after all, Chloe is Mom's daughter and Grandma's granddaughter. If they disagreed, I was going to try to talk them out of it, but they thought about it for a minute, and then nodded. We need to set her straight once and for all, Mom said, filled with regret about her parenting. Grandma reassured her, You were an excellent mother. It's my fault Chloe turned out this way. Seeing the two of them so hurt only fueled my determination for revenge even more. Months later, the day of Chloe's wedding arrived. Since it was a day off, I was enjoying a cozy tea time at home with a book. I looked at the clock and noticed that Chloe's wedding had already started. Grandma had even baked cookies to go with the delicious tea, making for a truly serene day off. Just then, both my and Mom's cell phones and the home landline began to ring. Frustrated by the relentless calls, Mom was about to answer the phone, but I stopped her. It's not her battle to fight. It's my revenge as the older sister. Hey, sis, why aren't you at the wedding? Mom's not here either. What's going on? None of my friends are here either, so my guest seats are empty. I responded calmly to Chloe's teary voice. Do you really think Mom and I would support someone who doesn't appreciate Grandma, who has been so good to us? We all warned you multiple times about your behavior, but you ignored us. So we decided to ignore your requests. We're not coming to the wedding, and we're not sending a gift. You're lying! You told my friends not to come, didn't you? I don't know your friends. If they're not there, doesn't that just show you're not as loved as you thought? Unbelievable! They all RSVP'd yes. Chloe's voice was filled with sorrow, but I had more to say. By the way, we sold Grandma's house and moved. We're not telling you where. What? Why wasn't I informed? We don't want you to come. You've made Grandma's life miserable. Why are you being so cruel? We're sisters. The one who forced Grandma into a wheelchair life is you, Chloe. Our new home is entirely accessible, and we even designed the kitchen to be easy for Grandma to use. She baked cookies today, and we're enjoying them now in our new home. That's heartless. Just come to the wedding now. My fiancé is furious. Well, brace yourself for more embarrassment then. What do you mean? I invited Dad. He'll probably get quite drunk and make it a memorable reception. We haven't seen Dad since the divorce. We had occasionally received letters from him, but that was it. After getting Dad's contact information from Mom and asking him to come for Chloe's wedding, he was thrilled.
Great news. Sounds like there'll be plenty of booze.
He was looking forward to it, so Dad would surely liven up the reception. Please stop this. Tired of talking to Chloe, I pretended the call was breaking up and hung up. I blocked Chloe's number and even unplugged our landline to stop her calls. Days later, the landline rang. It was Chloe crying, "Help me." What happened? Everything's a mess. She then proceeded to tell me how her reception turned out. Dad's drinking problem was as bad as ever, it seems. He caused a scene at the wedding reception. He grabbed the microphone from the MC and went on an uninvited rant about how lonely he felt about his daughter's marriage, sang a song, and even tripped while drunk, crashing headfirst into another table. Chloe's husband, being a CEO, had many business partners at the wedding who were completely disappointed by Dad's actions. Several people even left, saying they felt uncomfortable. Unsurprisingly, the husband and his family were furious. Chloe seemed to be under attack from all sides, but then an even bigger issue emerged. Turns out, Chloe wasn't actually pregnant. Chloe, who hadn't been focused on her studies, seemed to think it was okay to later claim she'd had a miscarriage. She'd lied to her husband, claiming to be pregnant to elevate her social standing. Her husband became suspicious when Chloe's belly didn't grow, and upon investigating, he quickly uncovered her lie. Between Dad's antics at the wedding and her own dishonesty, Chloe's husband was understandably furious. Divorce is now on the table, and she's even facing demands for financial compensation in the divorce proceedings. Chloe, who had never really worked a day in her life, has almost no savings. She found herself in a difficult situation, kicked out of the house by her husband and with nowhere to go. After hearing Chloe's whole story, I felt sympathy and said, "Wow, that's really a tough situation." Chloe cried, "So help me, sis." But I felt nothing. I realized on that call that Chloe and I are not truly sisters. I'm not your sister anymore. I have no intention of helping you, and if Mom and Grandma are swayed by your tears, I'll do everything to stop them from supporting you. Live your own life, Chloe. Why won't you help me? With that, I said goodbye and hung up the phone on a crying Chloe. Afterward, I suggested that we didn't really need a landline phone anymore since we all have mobile phones. Both Mom and I have blocked Chloe's number, severing ties with her completely. Rumor has it that Chloe is now leading a life soaked in alcohol, struggling to make payments for the financial compensation demanded in her divorce. Maybe she really did inherit Dad's bad traits. As for me, Mom, and Grandma, the three of us are living peacefully. In our accessible home, Grandma can now do many things she couldn't do before. She can cook her favorite meals and do laundry, and she shows a brighter smile, feeling that she contributes to the family. Mom's job is still demanding, but she seems a bit more relaxed now that Chloe, the problematic child, is out of the picture. As for me, without the constant worry about Chloe potentially hurting Grandma, I can focus better on my work. My hard work has been acknowledged, and my superiors see a bright future for me. While taking good care of Mom and Grandma, I'm living my days in happiness.